Imagine waking up to the news that a massive space rock is hurtling toward Earth at breakneck speed. Sounds like a Hollywood disaster movie, right? But what if I told you this has already happened many times throughout Earth's history? And each time it left a mark so massive that even millions of years later, we're still talking about it. From fiery skies to earth-shaking impacts, these meteors and asteroids have played a dramatic role in shaping our planet. And if you think a little 50-meter-wide rock can't do much damage, buckle up because we're diving into the most jaw-dropping asteroid impacts in history and what would happen if one decided to drop in for a visit today. Meteor Crater, Arizona's space rock playground. 50,000 years ago, a meteorite the size of an office building slammed into what is now Arizona, leaving behind a gigantic crater. This wasn't just any hole in the ground, it was so perfectly preserved that NASA trained its Apollo astronauts there before they walked on the moon. If this rock had aimed for New York City instead of Arizona, the consequences would be catastrophic. The initial impact would carve out a crater nearly a mile wide, instantly flattening everything within several city blocks. But the real nightmare begins when the fireball expands outward, scorching everything within a 1.7-kilometer, 1.1-mile radius. Even those outside the direct blast zone wouldn't be safe. Windows would shatter, buildings would crumble, and the sheer force of the shockwave would make survival near impossible. New York would need years, if not decades, to recover. But compared to the other asteroid impacts Earth has endured, this one is just a baby. Yarrabubba Crater, the Ice Age melter. Flashback to 2.2 billion years ago. Earth looked nothing like it does today. It was a frozen wasteland, locked in an ice age that had turned the planet into a giant snowball. And then, out of nowhere, an asteroid decided to crash the party. This wasn't a minor hit, this was the Yarrabubba impact, slamming into what is now Australia with enough force to create a crater 70 kilometers, 44 miles wide. Scientists believe this impact may have been powerful enough to end the ice age by releasing so much heat and vapor that it literally changed the climate. Now, let's say history repeats itself, and an asteroid of this magnitude hits modern-day Australia. A fireball would stretch 130 kilometers, 80 miles in every direction, reducing cities to ash and leaving the land unrecognizable. If it hit New York instead, not only would the city be completely wiped out, but even those on the outskirts would suffer third-degree burns. This wouldn't just be a citywide catastrophe, it would be a national disaster. Sudbury Basin, the ultimate earthquake simulator. Fast forward 1.8 billion years, and Earth was still taking punches from space. This time it was Sudbury Basin, one of the largest known asteroid impact sites on the planet. When this cosmic behemoth made contact, it left behind a crater a whopping 130 kilometers, 81 miles, wide in what is now Canada. Back then, asteroid impacts were a regular occurrence, just part of another Tuesday for early Earth. But if this same impact happened today, the devastation would be beyond anything we could comprehend. Imagine an earthquake measuring 11 on the Richter scale. That's more than 10 times stronger than the largest earthquake ever recorded. The sheer force of the impact would set entire cities ablaze, with everything within a 300-kilometer, 186-mile radius catching fire. If this asteroid had New York City in its sights, it wouldn't just be a disaster. It would be an extinction-level event for the entire region. And just when you think it can't get any worse, Chicxulub Crater, the dinosaur killer. If there's one asteroid impact you've definitely heard of, it's this one. 65 million years ago, an asteroid at least 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles, wide crashed into what is now Mexico. And well, let's just say the dinosaurs did not have a great day. This impact didn't just wipe out the big guys, it triggered wildfires, tsunamis, and a climate shift so extreme that 75% of all species on Earth went extinct. The crater it left behind? A staggering 180 kilometers, 112 miles wide. Now let's bring this horror story into the present. If this exact asteroid struck New York today, The fireball alone would engulf everything within a 450-kilometer, 280-mile radius. The impact would be so deafening that it wouldn't just damage your hearing, it would obliterate your eardrums. The shockwaves would cause destruction stretching all the way to Canada, and tsunamis would devastate coastlines across the globe. And yet, this still isn't the worst-case scenario. If an asteroid of this magnitude hit the ocean, the resulting megatsunamis could reach heights of over 100 meters, 328 feet, drowning entire coastal cities. Worse, the dust and debris launched into the atmosphere could block sunlight for years, plunging Earth into a deep freeze and triggering mass extinctions all over again. Vredefort Crater, the apocalypse asteroid. Ladies and gentlemen, we've saved the absolute worst for last. Meet Vredefort, the largest confirmed asteroid impact in Earth's history. 2 billion years ago, this monster rock smashed into what is now South Africa, creating a crater over 300 kilometers, 186 miles wide. The explosion was so powerful that it likely altered the entire planet's climate, leading to mass extinctions. If something like this were to happen today, well, humanity might not make it. Picture this: an asteroid so massive that it vaporizes everything within hundreds of kilometers. The fireball would extend 750 kilometers, 466 miles, in all directions, turning entire countries into flames. Shockwaves would level buildings across continents, tsunamis would wipe out coastlines, and the dust thrown into the atmosphere would block out the sun for years. Temperatures would drop, crops would fail, and the planet would enter a nuclear winter-like state. Humanity, if it survived at all, would be struggling to rebuild civilization from the ashes. This wouldn't just be a disaster, it would be the end of the world as we know it. What's next? The future of asteroid defense. With all these catastrophic impacts in Earth's history, you might be wondering what's our plan if another giant rock decides to pay us an unwelcome visit. Well, scientists aren't just sitting around hoping for the best. Space agencies like NASA and ESA are developing asteroid deflection missions, testing ways to change an asteroid's course before it reaches us. The Double Asteroid Redirection Test mission has already proven that we can nudge an asteroid off its path. Future missions might involve nukes, giant space lasers, or even painting an asteroid to use sunlight to push it away. Yes, that's a real idea. Scientists are also working on early detection systems, using telescopes and AI-powered tracking to spot threats long before they get too close. The goal is to have a coordinated global response, ensuring that if an asteroid does head our way, we have multiple strategies ready to deploy. The bottom line? We might just have a fighting chance unless, of course, the universe decides to throw a curveball. In that case, good luck. Could we stop an asteroid? After reading all this, you might be wondering, can we do anything about it? Well, Hollywood seems to think nukes are the answer. Honestly, they might not be wrong. Scientists are actively working on planetary defense systems to either deflect or destroy incoming asteroids before they can hit us. NASA has already tested this concept with the Double Asteroid Redirection Test mission, successfully altering an asteroid's trajectory. But here's the catch: detection is key. The sooner we spot a potential impactor, the more options we have to deal with it. Techniques like kinetic impactors, gravity tractors, and even solar sails are being explored to nudge asteroids off course. However, if an asteroid the size of Vredefort were heading our way, let's just say you might want to cash in on those vacation days really quick. And maybe, just maybe, hope Bruce Willis is still around. And that's a wrap on today's terrifying yet weirdly awesome journey through history's deadliest space smacks. If you enjoyed watching Earth get body slammed by giant rocks, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next wild ride. And drop a comment below. If an asteroid were heading our way, what's the first thing you'd do?